Now at 9, we look at what caused thousands of cattle deaths in southwestern Kansas and why it hasn't happened in our part of the state.
President Biden weighs more options to bring gas prices down, but Americans say they are not feeling relief yet. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with their reactions coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. The heat wave taking a heavy toll on livestock, particularly in Kansas. Officials in southwestern Kansas say at least 2,000 cattle have died in recent days from the extreme weather, with temperatures soaring higher than 100 degrees. Now, a warning, some of the video you're about to see may be disturbing to some. Michael George reports.
Graphic video posted on the internet shows hundreds of dead cattle. A feed yard consultant told CBS affiliate KWCH that the video was taken at a lot in southwest Kansas. He says many feed yards in the area have had cattle die from extreme heat.
Usually, these first weeks of June is when we really start to see these animals get hit with it.
Cattle industry officials say a brutal combination of soaring temperatures, high humidity, and little wind has been deadly.
What happened was the perfect storm is we had a rain event, actually several days of rain, created some high humidity in a typically very arid environment, followed by on Saturday we had some extreme temperatures that cattle were not acclimated to.
Many cattle had still not shed their winter coats when the heat wave struck. The sudden loss of so many cattle is an economic catastrophe for ranchers. Many were market-ready cattle, weighing well over 1,000 pounds. Forecasters say the worst may be over. Nighttime temperatures have been cooler, which allows the animals to recover.
Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has directed state agencies to do everything they can to help those who lost cattle. The temperatures in our area have also been high, but cattle here are not dying. KOAM's Chris Warner explains why.
We spoke with Kaylee Johnson in the Producers Co-op in Girard. She told us that there's some misinformation floating around regarding the death of the cows in southwest Kansas. Kaylee pointed us to local ranchers Jeff and Heather Cleland. They both say they've heard some of the stranger stories being passed around.
One of the ones that I've read on the internet was somebody dropped some clover out and poisoned the cattle. Another one was a plain chemtrail.
The heat isn't just limited to southwest Kansas. All you have to do is step outside in the 4 states and know it's hot. So why haven't we had the same issues with cattle here? Jeff says feed yard operations are one factor.
Here in Crawford County, Lillooet County, this area, we don't have that type of operations. Most of our cattle are out on grass. They can get in ponds, under trees for shade. Out there, they're feed yards that may have 100,000 cattle under one location. Typically, they don't need shade. They don't need things like that because it's a different environment.
Jeff adds the heat is a key factor in what happened out west, but it goes beyond just the heat.
This was the first really big heat event out there, so the animals hadn't got a chance to acclimate. The 15th of August, when there's no humidity and the wind's blowing 20 miles an hour and it's been 100 degrees for 2 weeks, the animals are accustomed to it. The 10th of June, when it just rained and it's really the first hot week because we've had a fairly cool spring, that's what was the perfect storm to really to do what happened.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
Now, Jeff says despite the high number of cattle deaths, it should not have an impact on beef supply. Well, the Sarcoxie, Missouri Police Department is asking for help finding the people who stole these tractor implements. Authorities say the items worth more than $3,500 were found this morning on some abandoned railroad tracks between County Road 67 and North Moist Street in Reeds, Missouri. Police believe thieves were using them to clear a patch down the tracks for easier access. If you know anything about the theft, you are being asked to call your local police department. Kansas Governor and Lieutenant Governor were in Montgomery County today for a groundbreaking ceremony that could be a very big boost for the area economy. That ceremony marks the beginning of work on a new $375 million soybean crushing facility. Bartlett Agra Enterprises is going to operate the facility located near Cherryville. Also in Montgomery County, Governor Kelly took a tour of a brewery and attended the grand opening of the Office of Rural Prosperity and Independence. Big honor for a Joplin senior community, one that calls for a party. U.S. News and World Report has ranked Wildwood a top 25 senior community. Wildwood is celebrated by inviting the community out for a good barbecue. People can also enjoy some music.
We have I believe that because we have just great residents, we have great staff, we have great family members, and we have the support of the Joplin community. So we are very blessed to have just all of those factors working in our favor.
Wildwood offers independent living, assisted living, and memory care. Stubbornly high gas prices and inflation have left Americans feeling agitated, and the Biden administration scrambling for solutions. But how soon relief will come remains to be seen. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more now from Washington.
With gas prices spiking, President Biden says there's never been a more crucial time to pivot towards clean energy. But the president has also overseen the largest release of U.S. oil reserves in American history, a move he defended to try and blunt costs for Americans.
I'm using every lever available to me to bring down prices for the American people. But the critical point is that these actions are part of our transition to a clean and secure long-term energy future.
It's not the only tool the Biden administration is considering, as it reportedly also weighs the idea of issuing rebate cards to help frustrated Americans pay for gas, although no final decision has been made.
Right now, until you have a better plan in place, you need to do something for the people.
The national average gas price has dropped since Tuesday after reaching new peaks for 18 consecutive days. Still, few people are feeling relief. Some even say the president should boost more domestic oil production.
So I think just really drilling in America and just where we have our oil and stuff instead of having to get it from so far away, especially with everything that's going on right now in Ukraine, in Russia, it's a lot. It's tough. So we need to get the oil here.
The president is expected to head to Saudi Arabia next month, a decision that has sparked criticism from both sides of the aisle. But the White House insists the trip is aimed at building better relations and not a plea for the region to pump more oil. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Shrinkflation, not only hitting those portions and items you buy in stores, it's also right there when you eat out. Smaller portions of your favorite restaurant items are showing up on plates now to offset those high costs rather than raise prices as a whole. Restaurants also say they're getting creative at purchasing and even turning unused items into other food items, such as folding food scraps into beef patties or using discarded shells, like from peas, for broth. Now, a restaurant inventory company's survey says most Americans would pay more for items if businesses explained why prices are rising. President Biden says he's been briefed but doesn't know what happened to 3 Americans who went missing while fighting the Russians in Ukraine. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has more from Ukraine.
The Ukrainians are getting pounded in the east as fighting intensifies in Severodonetsk, a strategic city that could be the key to taking the Donbass region. Ukraine suffering heavy casualties on the front lines, and now 3 American citizens, all former service members, are missing after fighting alongside the Ukrainians. There are reports at least 2 have been captured, but neither Moscow nor Washington will confirm that. President Biden urging other Americans not to follow in their footsteps.
I have been briefed. We don't know where they are, but I want to reiterate, Americans should not be going to Ukraine now.
It is not clear how any potential American prisoners would be treated. Moscow has been deeply critical of America's support for Ukraine, and it is possible they could be used as political bargaining chips.
What we will insist on is that they be treated as prisoners of war, but we are dealing with the Russians, and we have to have certainly a frank understanding of how brutal and barbaric they have been.
Meanwhile, on the diplomatic front, the West making a major show of solidarity Friday, formally accepting Ukraine as a candidate for membership in the European Union, prompting Vladimir Putin to claim the EU caved to demands from the United States.
The European Union has completely lost its political sovereignty, and its bureaucratic elite dance to the tune of others.
The British Prime Minister also coming to Kiev to discuss a plan for training Ukrainian troops. In Odessa, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another 4-state hero. Donald Wolfe Sr. served in the U.S. Army from 1953 to 1954. Native of Oswego, Kansas, Wolfe was stationed in Korea, earning several awards. We are proud to thank and salute Private Donald Wolfe Sr. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Doug Katie's next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, the Midwest Mustangs playing Pittsburgh Post 64 in this weekend's tournament opener. Going to have those highlights in sports.
Well, of course, it turned out to be another hot, humid day for us today. Temperatures all the way up into the mid-90s across the region, kind of like we have seen most of this week. In fact, 6 of the past 7 days, our temperatures have been above 90 degrees. We're still sitting mid to upper 80s outside for us right now, 85 in Nevada, 87, Neosho. Grand Lake sitting at 85, Pittsburgh 84, Yates Center still sitting at 87, and we aren't alone. Look at the entire Central Plains. We still have mid-90s outside at this point in time. Even a little bit of a heat index, the way it actually feels, it still feels like to your skin into the mid-90s, even though we are deep into the evening hours. Not much going on here, pretty much clear skies, so nothing showing up on the radar, and we're not going to see anything popping up for us as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Any rain, you have to travel down across Southern Plains or out across the Rockies because we are dominated by this big dome of high pressure. Until this breaks down, we're not going to see a whole bunch of changes over the next few days. We do get some rain chances in there, which is at least good news. All right, hour by hour, we're going to stop at 7 a.m., mid-70s, warming through the 70s into the 80s to near 90 by the noon hour. And then I think most of us will go into lower 90s for highs, maybe a degree or two cooler than what we saw today. 73 to start, 90 by noon, high temp 94. There is a chance we could get a few isolated thunderstorms, especially in our southern counties as we go late afternoon into the evening hours. You can see a few random storms that kind of work through. If we do see any of these pop up, some of these could be on the strong side. And then I think by 8, 9, 10 o'clock, any isolated storms that would pop up, these will mainly be gone. Let's go into Sunday morning, back down into the mid-70s for overnight lows. Then we heat up again, a little bit cooler on Sunday, which of course is Father's Day. High temps right around 90 to about 92 degrees as we go into the afternoon. Heat indices still up there, 100 to about 105 for us tomorrow. Near 100, upper 90s to near 100 by the time we head into Sunday. The heat actually gets stronger. We go back a little bit hotter on Monday. By Tuesday, into the mid-90s. By Wednesday, mid to upper 90s. But finally, we get a cold front, at least near us, that give us some chances for some showers and thunderstorms. 94 tomorrow, 92 on Father's Day, 93 on Monday, 96 on Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at Thursday, all the way up to about 97 degrees, and we do have those rain chances kind of sneaking in late next week, but we hold into the 90s all the way through next weekend. Jordan?
Doug, thank you. Hey, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, all free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store, also the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone. All you have to do is search for the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Coming up, abortion clinics making plans for the future.
Lawmakers say the Supreme Court could decide the fate of Roe v. Wade any day now. I'm Jackie Ibanez with more on how the apprehension around abortion bans is impacting women across the country. That's straight ahead.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson signed legislation giving college coaches and university employees in Missouri a more active role in endorsement opportunities for their athletes. Now, under the new law, university employees, quote, may identify or otherwise assist with opportunities for a student athlete to earn compensation from a third party for the use of student athletes' name, image, and likeness rights or athletic reputation. The new law goes into effect August 28th. Political analysts speculate abortions are most likely going to be banned in roughly half the country if the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. But as the nation waits for the high court's ruling, pro-choice advocates are rushing to try and secure access to the procedure in case Roe is abolished. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez takes a closer look.
Abortion hurts women! We are on the cusp of a catastrophic ruling.
As pro-choice and pro-life advocates wait for the Supreme Court's decision on the fate of Roe v. Wade, abortion clinics across a growing number of states are now pausing new appointments for the procedure and relocating staff as they prepare for the landmark decision to most likely be abolished after last month's leaked draft opinion from the High Court indicated Roe's possible downfall.
We will fight until hell freezes over, and then we will fight on the ice.
It's igniting Democratic lawmakers to urge President Biden to take executive action.
He can improve access to medication abortion.
But as federal efforts appear to stall, some Democratic district attorneys in Republican-led states are signaling they may not uphold abortion bans if they're implemented. This comes as New York's governor recently passed new laws protecting abortion seekers and providers from legal punishment in the Empire State if Roe is overturned.
I refuse to go backwards.
Meanwhile, some anti-abortion advocates are pleading with other pro-life supporters to take a kinder approach to voicing their concerns.
Many of the mothers coming for the abortion appointment feel scared, they feel trapped, a lot of them feel pressured to be here. So we're providing them help and resources to broaden their choices.
But as the legal battle continues, abortions in the U.S. could be in greater demand. New data from the Guttmacher Institute shows the number of abortions increased from 2017 to 2020 after seeing previous decline. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Still ahead, slowly but surely, more stores getting more baby formula. A big challenge remains, though, for specialty formula. We're seeing baby formula deliveries every day, and by the end of this week, more than 4 million 8-ounce bottles of it are going to have arrived here in the U.S. Less than half of those deliveries, though, have included specialty infant formula. Fox News multimedia reporter Joy Addison has more on this story.
The current baby formula shortage affects hospitals and neonatal intensive care units across the country. And while the deliveries coming in are helping, formula for babies with digestive issues is still in short supply. Now, Texas Children's Hospital is expanding a program that could help a lot of families.
It's been a challenge for some time now, not only in our NICU, but our families, once they leave the NICU and go home, trying to find formula is a big stress for them.
The shortage started 3 months ago when the FDA found a deadly bacterial contamination, which led to a baby formula recall and shut down a major manufacturing plant. We've started seeing large deliveries of infant formula.
Last week from Nestle Gerber, we have as of now 3.1 million 8-count ounces, which is a lot when you look at it. Some of the formula coming in from outside also is specialty formula.
Specialty formula contains certain ingredients to help babies with medical issues, and we need more of it.
And there is no substitute for that formula. Breast milk is the substitute for this formula.
Texas Children's Hospitals says this is where their North Texas Milk Bank partnership has been a saving grace.
We relied on them for pasteurized donor breast milk for our premature and medically fragile infants.
At the height of the shortage, the hospital added a community milk donation bank. This ensures their most medically fragile infants who rely on nutrition to survive stay fed. Now they're expanding the program.
Since our launch in March of 2022, over 40,000 ounces of breast milk has been donated through our Texas Children's Hospital site, expanding our community milk donation sites to all campuses, all the Texas Children's Hospital campuses is our next step. This could happen again, unfortunately, and we have to always keep our focus and our eye on protecting our patients, making sure we have the supplies necessary.
The Department of Health and Human Services says more specialty infant formula should be available by June 20th. In Houston, Joy Addison, Fox News.
Talk about a really fun school project. The most cereal boxes arranged and knocked over like dominoes when we come back. Some kids in Oregon treating cereal boxes like dominoes, breaking a world record. Look at this. As the camera pans up, you're going to see how expansive this is. The May Richardson Elementary School unofficially broke the world record for most cereal boxes arranged and knocked down like dominoes. Piled up nearly 7,000 cereal boxes through and around the school. They surpassed the current record holder, Long Beach Middle School in New York, by more than 400 cereal boxes. May Richardson Elementary School donated the cereal boxes to their local community food bank access. Good for them, and what a fun project. You know, it's impressive. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Look at some LGBTQ-friendly bars in the area and why those spaces are important. Also going to visit an insect spectacular going on in Chanute. June is Pride Month. It's a month that recognizes the 1969 Stonewall riots, fighting for LGBTQ rights here in the U.S. Well, now it's more widely celebrated as a month to highlight the LGBTQ community itself. Locally, the Joplin area has many gay-friendly bars, and KOM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with owners on the importance of having these spaces in the community.
In 1969, Pride was a protest. The Stonewall riots helped start the gay rights movement. Now, it's a time of celebration when the world's LGBTQ communities come together to express their true self while also paying respect to Stonewall.
We've got our Blackthorn, one of our Blackthorn logos we do in the rainbow colors. We have some shirts we do in the rainbow colors and stickers, and we just really try hard to make sure that everyone does feel like they belong whenever they come in here.
While bars like Blackthorn are using this month to celebrate Pride, being a safe space for the LGBTQ plus community is something they do year-round.
We try to do drag shows and all kinds of LGBTQ friendly events all year long. I think it is really important to have a safe place, and not just for the LGBTQ community, but for women, for people of color.
They aren't the only space in Joplin emphasizing themselves as a space anyone can feel comfortable going to.
We have been here forever. It's just that we're now allowed to be ourselves in general public. If two same-sex people want to hold hands, whatever they want to do and walk down the street, they should not be shamed. They should be allowed the same rights. Just love everybody.
The Locker Room is one of Joplin's newest bars. The name comes from times in the locker room in school for anyone who may have felt out of place or still does.
We all had bad experiences in high school, and whether it was growth spurts or not growth spurts, everybody was trying to catch up or felt out of place. Now come back to the locker room, and say, hey, life is just as bad as it was back then, but I can have fun and laugh about what happened back then.
Their hope, like so many other gay-friendly bars in the area, is to make anyone wanting to come in feel comfortable doing so. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOM News.
Jomo Pride will not take place until this September. Crowder College today announced a partnership between a local business and high school. The college is working with Cooper Gear and Manufacturing out of Anderson, Missouri, for an apprenticeship program. Cooper Gear and McDonald County High School already have an apprenticeship program in place. Well, now, though, those students are going to be able to continue that hands-on learning experience and development of skills while in college at Crowder.
What we've been able to do with the apprenticeship program is work with the high school on getting juniors and seniors who want to work flex time. So they're coming in on the 1 to 9 in the evening shift, and it allows them to work in this type of industry as long as they're in a registered apprenticeship program.
Both Cooper Gear and Crowder College are registered Department of Labor apprenticeship programs. Cooper Gear has been registered since 2017 and Crowder College since 2015. Lincoln Park in Pittsburgh was a little more crowded today because of a petting zoo event. Pittsburgh Public Library hosted the event as part of its Oceans of Possibilities summer reading program. It featured animals like kangaroos, alpacas, camels, and iguanas.
Well, the children seem to like the animals, and most of what I use is, I use animals that's been used before, so they're used to it.
The event was free and open to the public. To see what other fun events are happening in the area, just go to our website, komnewsnow.com/events. A unique summer activity for both kids and adults who are invited to an insect spectacular. It's a workshop in Chanute, Kansas. People are learning about collecting, storing, identifying, and pinning insects for exhibit.
Learning more about how plants and insects kind of tied together. You really can't have one without the other. And so it's good to see them out actively engaged, interested, and learning.
Field trips include pastures, meadows, ponds, and water areas. The Insect Spectacular continues tomorrow. A bit later, it appears the WikiLeaks founder is coming to the U.S. against his will.
The decade-long legal battle of Julian Assange might be nearing a conclusion. I'm Greg Balk in London. That's my story. Coming up.
Well, of course, it turned out to be another hot, humid day for us today. Temperatures all the way up into the mid-90s across the region, kind of like we have seen most of this week. In fact, 6 of the past 7 days, our temperatures have been above 90 degrees. We're still sitting mid to upper 80s outside for us right now. 85 in Nevada, 87, Neosho. Grand Lake sitting at 85, Pittsburgh 84, Yates Center still sitting at 87, and we aren't alone. Look at the entire Central Plains. We still have mid 90s outside at this point in time. Even a little bit of a heat index, the way it actually feels, it still feels like to your skin into the mid 90s, even though we are deep into the evening hours. Not much going on here, pretty much clear skies, so nothing showing up on the radar, and we're not going to see anything popping up for us as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Any rain, you have to travel down across southern plains or out across the Rockies because we are dominated by this big dome of high pressure. Until this breaks down, we're not going to see a whole bunch of changes over the next few days. We do get some rain chances in there, which is at least good news. All right, hour by hour, we're going to stop at 7 a.m., mid 70s, warming through the 70s into the 80s to near 90 by the noon hour. And then I think most of us will go into lower 90s for highs, maybe a degree or two cooler than what we saw today. 73 to start, 90 by noon, high temp 94. There is a chance we could get a few isolated thunderstorms, especially in our southern counties as we go late afternoon into the evening hours. You can see a few random storms that kind of work through. If we do see any of these pop up, some of these could be on the strong side. And then I think by 8, 9, 10 o'clock, any isolated storms that would pop up, these will mainly be gone. Let's go into Sunday morning, back down into the mid 70s for overnight lows. Then we heat up again, a little bit cooler on Sunday, which of course is Father's Day. High temps right around 90 to about 92 degrees as we go into the afternoon. Heat indices still up there, 100 to about 105 for us tomorrow. Near 100, upper 90s to near 100 by the time we head into Sunday. The heat actually gets stronger. We go back a little bit hotter on Monday. By Tuesday, into the mid 90s. By Wednesday, mid to upper 90s. But finally, we get a cold front, at least near us, that give us some chances for some showers and thunderstorms. 94 tomorrow, 92 on Father's Day, 93 on Monday, 96 on Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at Thursday, all the way up to about 97 degrees, and we do have those rain chances kind of sneaking in late next week, but we hold into the 90s all the way through next weekend. Jordan?
All right, Doug, thanks so much again. If your signal of KOM or Fox 14 becomes glitchy, it's a sign of progress, really. We're going to be broadcasting from a lower temporary antenna while a crew installs a new, more technically advanced antenna at the top of our tower. It's the final step in our More Power project. This is going to allow some viewers who previously lost our signal to get us once again. If all goes to plan, cross fingers, we're going to be back up and stronger than ever by the end of June. Coming up in sports, the Midwest Mustangs kicking off the Pitt State Tournament against Pittsburgh Post 64. Plus, Joplin Outlaws facing a tough test in Nevada. Danny Terzer has those highlights and more.
Pitt State is hosting a baseball tournament, and two local teams hit the field early this morning for their first game of the weekend. The Midwest Mustangs kick off the tournament against Pittsburgh Post 64. Fast start for the Mustangs. Wyatt Foley shoots it through the gap for an RBI single. 4-run score in the first. Later, Brett Sarwinski lays out to make the catch. That prevents a base hit and ends the inning. Mustangs extend their lead here. Eli Cheney drops one into shallow center. Logan Myers scores from second. It's 8-2. And then, with the bases loaded, Cade Beshore gets a base hit. Foley scores. Cam Custer pitches a complete game, and the Mustangs win game 1, 10-2. The Joplin Outlaws have a tough task tonight, facing the Nevada Griffins. Joplin has struggled against the Griffins so far this summer. Nevada has won all 3 of the matchups. Strong start for Joplin tonight on offense and defense. Outlaws turn the double play, their second of the game in just the second inning. At bat now in the second, Cody Min finds grass in right center. That scores Joe Riccio, 3-0 Joplin. Then Carl Junction product Carson Johnson gets it to drop in space. brings Min in. Next inning, bases loaded. Sam Fagan steals home. Outlaws doing it all tonight. They put up 6 in the 6th. It's 14-2 in the 7th. Oklahoma plays their first game in Omaha for the College World Series today, facing Texas A&M. Sooners do damage in the 2nd. Bases loaded for Blake Robertson. He singles to shallow center. 2-run score. Then Jimmy Crooks blasts a 3-run shot to right. Oklahoma up 8-0. A&M gets a few back in the bottom half. Jordan Thompson responds with his own 3-run shot. But the Oklahoma offense just dialed in today. 4th inning, it's a grand slam for Jackson Nicholas. Sooners win it 13-8. The St. Louis Cardinals spent the past week at home and won 5 of their last 7 games. They begin a road trip tonight facing Boston. The Cards rally for 4 runs in the 9th. Brendan Donovan drives in 2 to put the game within 1, but Boston hangs on to win the series opener 6-5. The Royals continue their West Coast road trip, beginning a series with Oakland tonight. Kansas City up 2-0 in the 2nd with RBIs from Salvador Perez and Andrew Benintendi. That's a look at sports. Back with more news after this.
The decade-long legal battle of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange could be nearing a conclusion. The UK government has approved his extradition to here in the U.S. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott explains.
We're going to fight this.
The wife of Julian Assange says the WikiLeaks founder will appeal an order extraditing him to the United States to face spying charges. British Home Secretary Priti Patel approved the extradition today, following an April British court ruling. In a statement, the Home Office writes, quote, "It is in our national interest to have a balanced, effective extradition relationship which prevents criminals evading justice and the UK becoming a haven for fugitives." Assange faces trial on more than a dozen charges of espionage and another of computer misuse. American prosecutors allege that in 2010, Assange helped former Army Private Chelsea Manning obtain and publish military records and classified diplomatic cables. Officials say the release of those documents put lives in danger.
This is a political case. It has to be resolved at the highest levels. Let's stop pretending. There is no legality. The only thing on display is illegality.
WikiLeaks condemned the extradition decision, calling it a dark day for press freedom. The organization writing, quote, "Foreign laws now determine the limits of press freedom in this country, and the journalism that won the industry's most prestigious prizes has been deemed an extraditable offense." Lawyers for Assange argue he is entitled to First Amendment protections. Assange has been in a London prison since 2019 after he was arrested for skipping bail during another legal challenge. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Coming up, going to preview a new comedy about a real-life couple that found a lottery loophole. Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening team up for a new film about a real-life couple who not only beat the lottery odds, figure them out. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with the story.
To Jerry.
Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening hit the jackpot in the Paramount Plus comedy drama Jerry and Marge Go Large.
It is the little guy succeeding. It is the underdog story, and it also hits fantasy in that people are always thinking, God, what if you won the lottery? What would happen?
The film is based on the true story of Jerry and Marge Selby, a retired married couple from Michigan who win millions in the Massachusetts lottery after Jerry discovered a mathematical loophole.
Jerry has this gift of understanding the math, figures out the lottery, they do it together.
All he did was think it through, and just outsmarted and did it fair.
For Jerry and Marge, it was just affirming, life affirming for them. It drew them closer together.
Figuring out the flaw in the game not only resulted in the couple winning the lottery once, but winning it on a consistent basis.
They had fun They had fun together they ended up going to Massachusetts over and over and over a 10-year period to do the roll down.
Together with the help of their family and friends, the Selbys pocketed nearly $27 million without breaking the law.
It didn't change their lives really drastically. They bought a new truck. They set up college funds for their grandchildren. That's about it.
But that's not all. The couple also used the money to revive their small Michigan town.
That just goes to the character of not just who Jerry and Marge are, but just that whole town and how people want to look out for each other.
We're professional lottery players.
That isn't a thing.
It is now.
The film is available to stream now. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of golden lion tamarins in Brazil. Something rare to see, apparently. Have a great, safe weekend. Let's do this all again tomorrow. See you then.